There is a woman living normally in America. Like us, she also uses a variety of social media ways to communicate with her friends, relatives, and families. But one day, someone added to her. A man he had previously been a classmate, and of course she adopted this friend request, because they were classmates before. But at that time, her life was forever changed because his old simple life was full of fear. In this story, we will learn the story of a stalker who sent thousands of messages and video calls to a woman. What could have happened to the woman? Did the police take any actions on this man? But before that, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit that notification button to be updated with life-amazing stories. 2009 was the year in which Kristen Pratt's life changed. Because of this year, she will be in college and will try to promote her education with the help of part-time jobs while she is studying. Since she was in college in the next school year, she has tried to create social media accounts that can help her communicate with her parents, relatives, and friends. So, she created her Facebook and Twitter accounts. Here, she tried to find her friends and relatives so they could have ongoing communication with one another. But while she was browsing her newsfeed, suddenly, a notification popped up on her Facebook account. A name came out here that added her to make them a friend on Facebook. She reads the name and thinks about where she met this person. Patrick Macchione is the name. She had repeatedly wondered where she had read this name. But, since she was just new in the social media world, she had not taken this friend request. A few days later, Kristen opened her Facebook account to communicate with her friends, but what stirs her attention was the message from Patrick Macchione. He introduces himself as her former classmate in high school. Kristen didn't immediately believe what Patrick said, so to be sure she asked her friends if they remembered Patrick Macchione, who was their classmate in high school. Some of her friends said they knew him. Because of that, Kristen accepted the friend request on Facebook. Kristen and Patrick have since started talking while in exchange messages, full of happiness and a few jokes about their experience when they were in high school. Kristen was so lighthearted to talk with Patrick just because it was like normal messages to two friends. But a few days later, Kristen noticed that Patrick changed the way he talks to her online. She was so upset about being weird and dealing with her because they only talked a few days, then he admitted his feelings to her. Patrick says he likes Kristen and doesn't know how it all started. It was a normal confession that Kristen was surprised because she had never fully met the man and also to her. So in a simple story, Patrick would have liked her? Because Kristen didn't like that confession, it was better not to talk to Patrick anymore. Gradually she never talked to Patrick again. But here comes the strange things Patrick can do. A few days later, Kristen did not reply to Patrick's messages, but Patrick did not stop sending the messages. As it lasts, Patrick's messages to Kristen will be exacerbated by her tragic plan for the woman as well as his plan to give her a child. These are Patrick's messages. Because of this, Kristen was very scared. One day, out of some fear, Kristen blocked Patrick on Facebook so he could no longer send messages. But Kristen was shocked that he moved to Twitter, where Patrick began to send disturbing videos. Where does he tell her how he liked Kristen or why Kristen needed to give him a chance? And it's still not here that Patrick's scary work ends. A day after Kristen's class, she was shocked to see Patrick waiting outside their building. Because of fear that Patrick would treat her badly, she was accompanied by her friend as they arrived at the parking lot where she was parked. Fortunately, Patrick did not see them and they quickly went straight to the nearest police station to report it. Arriving at the police station, Kristen spoke to Sergeant Mark Conway. She explained what she had experienced about Patrick. But the police told her that they had no action to do so because the man might have just been there for school purposes. Patrick doesn't even call her on her cell phone or message her number. And Patrick didn't know the address of her house and where she worked. She was not allowed to file a restraining order that would have helped her. After her at the police station, he tried to return her habit of going to school, working, and coming home. But one night, on her way home from work, she saw Patrick walking outside her workplace. In fear, she quickly got into her car and rushed to her house, and prayed that tomorrow no one would disturb her. The next day, Kristen woke up to the sound of her cell phone, because Patrick had already known her number. Countless calls and messages were received from Patrick. Because of this, Kristen is full of fear coming out of her house. And to confuse Patrick, she figured out a way to hide from his eyes. Her long blonde hair was shrugged down her shoulders and changed her dress too. Instead of normal pants and t-shirts, she tried to wear long dresses with long sandals, and then she went to their school. Her change of form continues, and every month her style is varied. She also started to color her hair to make Patrick more confused. And it seems she was successful, because even though they met each other, Patrick didn't recognize her. At 2 o'clock in September 2009, when Sergeant Mark Conway finished duty from their station, he drives home. But, as he was driving, his eyes caught a man in a slut in black clothing and carried a black backpack. Because he doubted the man, he followed him thinking that he was a thief stealing valuable things inside the car. When he reached out to the man, he got out of his car, then confronted him, telling the man to give him the bag to inspect. There the man hesitated to hand over the bag, but did nothing to Sergeant Conway's compulsion to take it with him. Sergeant Conway expects that the flesh of the bag was a part of the vehicle, but he was shocked that it was the camera. He opened it and watched the content videos. Besides the video and the photo of the woman, there is another video and it was Kristen Pratt. Because of that, Sergeant Conway remembers Kristine's imminent complaint to their station. He arrested Patrick and took him back to the police station. Here, Sergeant Conway found out that he was right because the injunction order against Patrick came out of their system with a 200 pages report that Kristine passed. The camera containing the video was shown by Sergeant Conway to a state attorney, and there, Patrick was charged with the case. According to the investigation, the videos seen on Patrick's camera were posted on his YouTube account, where it was full of threats and endless stories about Kristine. In 2012, after Kristine's 3 years of misery, Patrick was already imprisoned. The court announced he would be jailed for 4 years, but due to the petition made by Patrick's lawyer, it had been down for just 2 years. Provision was replaced so that his treatment could help his mind. At present, Kristine moved his house far away from where Patrick lived. But the fear that one day he will rise again in her front is not lost. Meanwhile, Patrick, in turn, became a real estate agent broker in Orlando. Ultimately, a simple nod to the friend's request and exchange of messages from the previous person unexpectedly brings home the scary experience. It left a big mark and brought a terrible shock to a woman's life. This is how terrible it is to become a victim in a social media world. So always remember not to trust people on social media. Bear in mind to always think before you click. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to be updated with life amazing stories.